As your watch pirate captain, I'm not just a perpetual dad joke machine, but I occasionally give you some actual useful information. And that's why, for this video, we're going to give you 3 reasons why vintage quartz watches are trending at the moment, and how this Praesidus field watch is a very good example of that. Reason number 1, affordability. The C word is often thrown around in this very vulgar world that we live in. I'm talking about the word cheap, you filthy watch pirate. And this desert field from Praesidus should never be associated with those words. Well, to be fair, there are much more affordable watches that you can buy with a similar look, but those are bargain bin cheap watches compared to this. At just below $200, this desert field watch has everything that you need for a daily beater so long as you can pull off that 34mm sizing. Yes, it's one of the least costly watches we reviewed in this channel, but it certainly has that great materials to enjoy from the case down to the strap. It's amazing how $100 off the retail price can go such a long way. That cousin of yours that's willing to listen to your horological sermons will now have a genuine, compelling reason to own a watch, without offering him more lager than he can hold. Some of you will rightfully call me out and say, yeah, you're just saying that, but really you'd rather recommend a GShock instead. If that's true, you're banned from the channel and you should be imprisoned without parole. And also, yes, I would suggest a GShock, but then again, they're not sponsoring this channel and they tend to wear big. So yeah, reasons. But when it comes to wristwatches, G-Shocks are still not the first thing that comes to mind for most people. The vast majority of living breathing humans still would pick a watch that has 2 hands that points to some sort of hour marker. While this generation tends to add more screens than sensibility, it's quite comforting to know that there's still a segment of our species that would prefer a timing device that doesn't require charging every 15 seconds. And that's how Praesidus continues to thrive. Truth be told, I thought that this company will not last long after its first offerings, but happily I was proven to be an ill-informed, disgustingly ignorant watch pirate Nostradamus. Makes you wonder why you're watching this channel in the first place, huh? Reason number 2, nostalgia. The N-word is a very powerful tool for evoking or provoking one's emotions. I'm talking about nostalgia, okay? There's a surprisingly large number of people longing for vintage watches that unsurprisingly don't want to spend thousands on the actual thing. This desert field really scratches that itch as the sizing is very similar to this Omega Gen F. And the impression also connects the two together, like Grandpapa Pirate teaching me how to eat siopaw or skin a cat, or both for some reason. This sizing is so dated and so different from contemporary preferences that it actually became its own genre. It pulls you right away into history just by looking at it. Of course, leave it to the big brands to not miss an opportunity to cash out on their own history and heritage. This Tissot PR516 was a common sight in the 70s and has been relaunched recently by the brand. Tissot knows the market is there for these updated collections, and it just makes sense that others like Praesidus could ride this wave however they could. A big advantage of Praesidus is that their quartz watch is not just more accurate than this Tissot, it also requires practically no servicing at all, unlike this Swiss relic. Before we get to the third reason why vintage watches are trending today, here's what a handful of you have to say. Melvin Ramirez concisely remarks, it's not a bad-looking field watch. Choller Dude says it looks simple yet effective. The dial also reminds him of a Zelos granite field watch. Romulus Morrison actually met the guys at Praesidus in the wind-up event. He seems to like their great quality watches if only they were bigger. And finally, Andra Jeftovic loves the watch and the strap is a pretty good match to the piece. Finally, reason number 3, style. Vintage watches are attractive and romantic, like a certain S word. Style, my boys, style. The first obvious styling here comes from that dark-toned, bead-blasted case that resists prints and can hide a bit of the scratches. This is evenly applied all over the case. The sides also have drilled holes for conveniently swapping straps, and the strap itself is a good quality textured band with a round bead-blasted buckle. This also has a quick-release mechanism that really sweetens the deal. This is an 18mm strap though, so the options are not as plentiful as some more common 20mm straps. On the dial, we could see more of its unique features. We have seen 24-hour dials before, and this is indeed similar to the ones that Bulova and Hamilton used to make. However, this desert field offers it at a smaller dial, and the numerals are raised prominently from the dial rather than merely being printed on. It takes advantage of modern manufacturing technology as the loom shines bright and lasts long. A definite upgrade from the days of wearing hazardous materials on your wrist. To keep the cost down, they didn't use sapphire crystal here, but rather they use a sapphire coated K1 crystal. It's also got this anti-reflective coating as it ensures the clarity of the dial. The dial has a very deep matte texture that makes it part of the light play that is very much highlighted by the whole case. Another thing to note is that there's no logo or branding on the dial. It's very clean, lends to the simplicity of the watch, and exudes a no-nonsense spirit to it. Speaking of spirit, the back proudly advertises that it's assembled in the United States and has a Swiss beating heart inside. The original field watches were less accurate before the quartz revolution. At the sacrifice of authenticity, you can enjoy a fusion of vintage styling and modern materials. This trend is getting much more attention now with the explosion of social media and the tremendous growth of the watch community. It's a great starter piece until you're man enough to take the next step forward in watch collecting. Praesidus understands these three reasons well and built a community around these military-oriented watches. Watches that not only satisfies your style choices, but also even actively supports war veterans. It's a great, affordable, and stylish piece that's based from watches that stood the test of time. And that is the Praesidus Desert Field watch. Well, actually, it's called Jungle Field. They switch it up when it comes to certain colorways, but still part of the Desert Field collection. It's a small watch, 34 millimeters, but men still like these kinds of watches, especially military-oriented, military themed. You know. And those are the three reasons. They're very affordable, very accessible to many more people. The nostalgia and the story behind them, it reminds you of that nostalgic era of watches. And at the same time, the styling is very accessible. And I need to mention this. Even women like these kinds of watches. And I had many compliments about that. And that really gives it a lot more accessibility compared to other watches in the hobby. So, what do you think? Do those three reasons do it for you? Is it enough? Or maybe there's another reason that I forgot to mention. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. And kudos to the good folks at Praesidus. They were able to plant their feet firmly into the microbrand scene with this kind of watches. And at the same time, they stayed true to their roots, helping out war veterans in their cause. So that's also another plus with regards to this company. So what do you think? Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about the Praesidus Desert Field.